When the biometric system failed, the EC authorized the use of manual authentication of voters, with the clumsy reasoning that it was necessary to override the law in order to allow Ugandans exercise their constitutional right to choose their leaders. How lousy. DF is concerned that contrary to the use of the biometric technology as the panacea to fraud and multiple voting, in many parts of the country, the decision to resort to use of manual verification was fraudulently exploited, resulting into multiple voting and ballot stuffing in many parts of the country. The legal basis for use of biometric voting outlaws manual voting automatically, providing that no one who is not biometrically verified should be allowed to vote. More still, that where the electronic system fails, elections at that polling station must not go on. That is the law. Notwithstanding all excuses by the Electoral Commission for the biometric mess, the DF has come to the conclusion that the Electoral Commission had not prepared enough to adapt to new technology, and worse still, the CARE had no backup plan. But like we said in the preamble, we contend that actually they were deliberately doing this to make the whole process messy and facilitate multiple voting and ballot stuffing. The EC did not comply with the law, and thus the recently concluded presidential and parliamentary elections was conducted outside the law. The DF observes that the biometric voter verification kits worked smoothly and effectively in selected regions and constituencies. You noted that in some constituencies, all machines were working, but failed dismally in targeted constituencies, resulting into fraud, voter suppression, disenfranchisement, and other election malpractices. That said, the DF hereby informs the country that we categorically reject the outcome of the entire presidential and parliamentary election process, and we are consulting on steps to take aimed at challenging processes and outcomes variously. You remember, citizens, that the DF has been at the forefront. We forewarned the country a priori, the elections, that we do not believe that the Electoral Commission had prepared enough to use these machines. Remember, my last address here at the DF headquarters was particularly on those machines. And we're not here to say that it's a deja vu. We're just saying that citizens should learn to listen, and political actors should stop grandstanding, and they should learn to listen and cooperate. And now we know that actually the machines were not intended to facilitate an election, but as a facade to blur wide-ranging electoral fraud, as we saw it in various parts of the country. And therefore, as the DF, we cannot associate with an outcome blurred and littered all over with fraud and malpractice. Remember, we talked about ill preparation, lack of training, lack of stimulation. You can retrieve our last presser. These are the issues. You must have moved with your cameras at polling stations, with the top officials fidgeting with the gadgets, and in many places, indeed, the EC deployed and trained polling officials, essentially because they had intended to make the entire process messy to benefit and get particular outcomes.